Hi, I'm Mrs. Hershey. I teach middle school science. I've been married to Mark Hershey since 2010, and I'm not related to the man who made Hershey's chocolate, but I love chocolate, so you can bring me some anytime. I have 2 kids, Nora and Lena, and I'm looking forward to a great year. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Cheever, and I am the 6th grade English teacher. I'm also the intervention specialist for the eCademy, and I also teach mythology and creative writing at the high school. I have 2 kids. Their names are Cole and Claire, and I live here in Andover. I'm really excited to meet all of you and hope you have a wonderful year.
Hi, my name is Jamie Klim. I'm the middle school English teacher. My husband Rob is also a teacher, and we have 2 kids, Sophie and Baylor. I want to welcome you to eCademy, and I look forward to working with you.
Hi, my name is Lauren Green, and I am the middle school math teacher. I went to Andover my entire life, and I love working in this district. We cannot wait to see you here and get the school year started.
Hi, I am Mrs. Melander, and I'm the middle school social studies teacher. I have 2 kiddos. Their names are Sadie and Jack, and I am a caffeine-aholic. I love my morning coffee, so you will see me with a cup of coffee in my hands most of the time. I'm really looking forward to getting to know each of you and having you in class this year. It's going to be great. Welcome to eCademy. You're an Eagle now, so get excited.
Hi everyone. I'm going to talk to you about using your Gmail, your Google Mail account, and this is the best way for you to communicate through email to your teachers if you have questions or concerns about some things going on. So, how do you find your Google Mail? The first thing you can do is go to the district website. The web address is usd385.org. And you get to the district homepage. At the top, there's a little icon that says Campuses. Click on that, and you'd click on the Andover eCademy. This would take you to our school's webpage. There's a lot of different icons at the top. Click on Site Logins. This is where you can access your PCX, your classes, and your assignments and things in 612. And you can also access your Google Mail. Click on Google Mail, and you're going to sign in. We have given you an email address and a password, so on this page is where you're going to enter in that information. My email address is saved, so then I go ahead and enter in my password, and it's going to take me to my Google Suite. In my Google Suite, there's a lot of different icons and apps I can use within Google, but this first one is the Gmail app. It's a little envelope. Click on that, and it's going to take you to your email account. This is where you email out. This is where your emails are going to come in. When a teacher emails you, you're going to find it here. So I'm going to say I want to send an email to one of my teachers because I have a question on one of my assignments. So I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side to the Compose box. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to open up a message box where I can compose a new message. The first box says to, so I'm going to pretend I'm sending an email like I'm a student, and I'm going to send this email to Mrs. Clem. Oh, that's not going to work. So I type in Clem, and there she is. Her email address pops up. The next line is the subject box, so I need to put in there what I'm emailing her about. I can't just leave it blank or say, hey, because she doesn't know what the purpose of my email is going to be. So in that, I might put question on lesson 1.2. This shows her, okay, this is what this person is needing from me. Then in the next box, this is the body of your email. Oftentimes when we are sending emails, we can be in a hurry or we can be a little bit frustrated, and it's hard to read someone's tone in an email. So when you're emailing your teachers or other students, Be aware of your tone and make sure that you are being polite, because sometimes emails can come across as rude and disrespectful, and it can hurt someone's feelings. So just be aware of that. So the first thing you do when you compose an email is you have an opening. So you might say, "Dear Mrs. Clem," or "Hello," or something. I'm just going to write Mrs. Clem, put a comma, and then I'm going to start the body of my email. This is where I'm going to be very specific about what I'm emailing her about. I can't just say, "I need help." For example, that is not very respectful. She could get a little bit frustrated with you, and she also doesn't know what you need help on. She doesn't know what questions you might have, so you need to be specific in this. I might say, "I am having difficulties with lesson 1.2. On question number 4, am I needing to use specific details?" This is telling her, okay, this is the lesson I'm on, this is the question that I'm on, and this is specifically what I'm asking about that. You could email your teacher about, is the field trip on this Friday or next Friday, or something like that, but make sure you're being specific and purposeful in your emails and not vague. That way they can get back to you quickly and more efficiently, and they're going to answer your question on the first try rather than having to email back and forth to get what you really are needing. So be specific, be respectful in these emails. So you have your opening, you have your body. You might say, "Please let me know if I need to do anything else on question 4. I would like for you to please call me when you have a chance." You don't have to have them call you. This is just an example email. But maybe you are having trouble and it would be better if they called you back because you would like to hear them on the phone. Like I said, you don't have to do that most of the time. You can just correspond through email. I'm just giving you an example. That's where you might leave your phone number and tell them, "My phone number is whatever, 555-1234, whatever your phone number is, and leave it there. And you're going to end your email with a closing thank you. Remember, we're going to be polite and respectful. Say thank you and type in your name there. Very simple, to the point. It doesn't have to be a very long email. And then down here in the blue box, it says send. Go ahead and click on send, and it's going to send that email to Mrs. Clem. Then she'll email you back when you get an email back. I don't have any email in my inbox right now, but it'll be right here. You just click on it and open it up, and you can actually reply to an email from there as well. Like I said, most of the time, the most effective way to contact your teachers quickly is through email. We try to get back to you within 24 hours. Most of the time, we can do that sooner. And we're usually pretty good about checking our email, but again, we don't check it 24/7, so we might not get back to you instantly, but we will get back to you as soon as we can and hopefully get your questions answered. If you have any other questions about how to use your Google Mail, definitely come and ask us, but this should definitely get you started in communicating that way. If you go to PCX and your classes are listed, there's a little envelope down here that kind of looks like the Google Mail icon. If you click on webmail, there is a webmail place where you can send mail. We recommend that you do not send any mail through webmail and PCX. We are not going to check it. Right now, it's not showing us any icons when we're getting new emails. So we might not see that at all from you, and that's not really a place that we're going to be checking for messages from students. So if you have a question, do not email us out of webmail and PCX. Go to your Google account and send an email through that. That makes sure it goes directly to our Google Mail, which we would get sooner than the webmail over here. So I wanted to show you this just kind of as an example of what not to do. You might see this and it might look like a good idea, but we're probably not going to check that and get back to you effectively. So like I said, if you have any other questions, let us know, but this should be a good start.
Hi guys, it's Mrs. Melander again, and this portion of your orientation video we are going to talk about expectations. So we'll take a look at teacher expectations, learning coach expectations, and student expectations. So your teachers are obviously going to be responsible for grading the work that you do in PCX. Some of the grading will be done right away, so you will receive a score as soon as you hit the submit button. However, there will be other assignments that are lengthier, that will take longer to be graded. Teachers, our policy is that we have 48 hours to get assignments back to you. Now keep in mind that some assignments that you submit in an English course, like a research paper or something lengthier, might take longer than that, but for the most part we try to have everything back to you within 48 hours. This does not include weekends. Teachers here at eCademy have a typical school day schedule. So we get to school at 7:30 and we leave at 3:30. That's not to say that we don't take work home with us, because we always do, but our 48 hours is represented within the school week. So if you submit something over the weekend, it might take a little bit longer. Go ahead and submit it over the weekend. It just might take a little bit longer to get graded. Communication. Your teachers will be communicating with you all the time throughout the semester. So you will be getting emails, you'll be getting phone calls, we'll meet with you face to face, we'll be updating our Facebook page. All these different forms of communication, we do expect to hear back from you during these times. If you are to email us or you call and you leave a voicemail on our phones at work, we have 24 hours to get back to you about the issue that you're having. So keep in mind, again, we work the typical school day. So if you shoot us an email at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the morning, we're not going to get to it right away. You only need to send the one email. You don't have to send multiple emails. We will get to it. But if you don't hear from us within 24 hours, that might be when you want to either try calling us. Maybe the emails are going to spam. For whatever reason, after 24 hours, try again, and then we will get back to you. The last thing that your teachers are responsible for is in-house and social planning, as well as maintaining the curriculum. So when you come to in-house days, you can expect that we will have activities planned for you. We're going to meet with you and see how you're doing in your courses. We are also going to plan field trips, clubs, those types of things that you will learn about later on in the orientation video. We will be responsible for communicating that information with you. We are also responsible for maintaining the curriculum that you are given. A lot of the stuff that you're going to see, we did not write ourselves. So if there is a mistake in the curriculum, please let us know so we can make sure we get it fixed, or let the people know who are in charge that that mistake needs to be fixed. So, learning coach expectations. At orientation, if you were to come to one of our physical orientations face-to-face, we would give a pamphlet out to all learning coaches. A learning coach is someone who is going to be responsible for the student's education at home. At the middle school level, we really would like for the student to have a learning coach. It is so important to hold someone accountable, to hold your student accountable. You need someone there in case they have a question. They're more than welcome to ask the teachers, but a learning coach is great to help kind of push them along. Our principal likes to say that our learning coaches are basically like the vice principal. They're there to make sure that they're doing the work, and then he's there to make sure that everything else is running smoothly. So some ways that you can help your student as a learning coach is you can create a good learning environment. A good learning environment is not on the couch in front of the TV. You should have a workstation at home set up for your student, either a desk or even at the kitchen table, but an area where it's quiet, there are no distractions, that your student can work. Setting a schedule that works. We don't ask that you wake up at 8 o'clock every morning and log in, but we do ask that you show consistency. You are working every day. You do have a schedule. Our curriculum requires that you spend about an hour in each of the courses you are enrolled in. So if you are taking 5 classes, you should be spending about 5 hours a day on PCX in our curriculum. Remember that we are a public school and attendance is still required daily, and your teachers can track that. We know if you're logging in, we know if you're attending, we know what you're working on. We can see everything you do down to the clicks you make. So make sure you're putting in the time. Learning coaches, that's what you're there for, to help with that scheduling. And then also, obviously, be positive and encouraging. Virtual school is not easy, and it has a very steep learning curve. So you are going to have some struggles here at the beginning, and that's okay. Make sure you're staying positive, encouraging them to reach out to their teachers so that we can help them through this process. So we are here to make sure that your virtual learning is a positive experience. Accountability. We really need parents or learning coaches' help in holding the students accountable. Like I said before, we can see what the student is doing. We have access to that, but you are the reason your student will or will not be successful here. So it is so important that you're checking students' grades, you're checking their email, you're checking in on the communication that your student has with us. Be committed, okay? Communicate with us constantly. If there's something going on in your lives that's keeping your student from working, please communicate that with us. We need to know these things. If you're not going to be able to log into PCX for, 2 or 3 days, just shoot the teacher an email. Let us know. That way we can help you. Staying involved and staying connected is going to be the biggest thing for you and your student to be successful here. And then lastly, we ask that you set high expectations. So at the very beginning, if you are a new student to eCademy, it would be great if there was a learning coach who would sit with the student and help them through the lessons. Make sure they're understanding the navigation. When they're not, you can direct them to the teachers, or if there's any issues, direct them towards us so we can get them on the right track. We would love for you to check over your student's work before you submit it. We have no issues in that. Just make sure that your student is submitting their work and not the parent's work. Our English teacher is really good at figuring out the difference between a student's work and a parent's work. So those are our expectations for learning coaches. They seem like we have really high expectations because we do. We really need you guys to help the teachers out, and we can help you. The lines of communication definitely need to be open through this process. And then last, but definitely not least, is the expectations that we have for our students. As a middle schooler, these students' priority is to be a student. Their job is to get an education. So our curriculum in PCX is a priority. We expect that they are logging in again every single day. They're checking their email every single day. They're communicating with their teachers. They're putting in the 4 or 5 hours, however many classes they're taking. It's a priority. It needs to be consistent. They need to work with integrity, meaning, again, parents, we obviously want you guys to help, but we don't want to see the parents' work. We want to see the students' work. We are a very open curriculum, so we let our students use open notes, open book. They can look up information for most of their assignments. And so we really want the student to learn how to research something, but then put it into their own words and make it be their work and not someone else's. And then the last thing we ask, or not quite the last thing, but the next thing we ask the students to do is submit quality work. It's not about getting it done right away. Late work is fine. There's no penalty other than once we get to the permanent zero deadline, which you'll hear about in a little bit. So we would rather you take an extra day, submit the right kind of work instead of rushing through something and submitting it just to get it in on time. And then the very last thing that we expect from our students is that they communicate with us. This is not a brick and mortar school where your student is sitting in a room with a teacher looking right at them and, the teacher sees the confused look on their face. We can't see that. We don't know if they're struggling or we don't know if they have questions unless they reach out to us. So communication is the biggest key to success here at eCademy. As long as you're communicating with us, as long as the students, there's no reason why we can't make things work here at eCademy. So thank you for watching this section. Let us know if you have any questions, because remember, communication is key.
Hi, it's Mrs. Hershey again. I'm here to talk about our permanent zero policy at the middle school level. On the first of every month, any assignment that is more than 2 weeks late will become a permanent zero with no option to retry. These dates are September 1st, October 1st, November, and December in the fall. And then in the spring, it's February, March, April, and May 1st. Those may fall on a weekend, they may fall on a holiday, but it doesn't matter. No matter what, you know the first of every month, any assignment that you have that is more than 2 weeks late will become a permanent zero. We do this because we found that students tend to procrastinate if we give them the entire semester to get their work done, so this really helps to keep students accountable and keep you on pace. Academic integrity basically means don't cheat. A lot of students don't realize that they are violating the academic integrity when they copy and paste things from the internet. So when you're doing your work, make sure you're using your own work, not your brother and sister's work, not your parents' work, not something that you found on Google. This applies to pictures that you use or anytime you quote something from the internet. You are always, always, always welcome to look things up and use resources. You just need to give credit to those sources when you use that information. So, for example, let's say you find a quote from Abraham Lincoln. You can't use his quote and say that you said that. If you use his words, you would put it in quotations and then cite that it was his words, and your English class will help you with that. So make sure as you're doing your work, it is your work. You are always welcome, like I said, to use any resources, and if you need help on an assignment, your teachers are here to help you too, so there's no need for you to cheat in any classes. If you cheat on an assignment, the first offense, we're going to talk to your parent, talk to you, and you may have an option to retry or redo the assignment for partial or full credit. That depends upon the teacher. Second offense, you get an automatic 0, no retry, and we're going to talk with your parent again. Third offense, automatic 0, and you can't access GradPoint or Connexus until there's a team conference with the student, parent, teachers, administration, and counselor. So as we go through these consequences, they are definitely more severe as we go along. And then finally, if you continue to copy, you continue to cheat on assignments, you will be asked to leave eCademy. Last thing I want to talk to you about are tech issues. With a computer, you're going to run across problems. At some point this year, you're going to have a problem with your computer or with Connexus. When that happens, there is a tech support form, and there's an announcement in your classes with this link that you'll click on. Before you click on that link to fill it out, make sure you've totally rebooted your computer, which just means to turn it off fully, let it sit off for at least 30 seconds, and then turn it back on. Sometimes that solves the problem. Check to make sure your internet connection is working. If both of those things are fine, then go to this hyperlink that says Tech Support Form. When you click on it, it'll take you to a little window that looks like this. You fill in the parent name, student name, phone number, email, what's happening, and submit. The more information you can give in the brief description, the better for our tech guy, and his name is Brett Geiger. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks a lot.
Hi guys, it's Mrs. Melander again, and I'm going to go over the blended learning opportunities that we provide here at Andover eCademy. So as you can see, I've listed a couple different things on this list: in-house days, clubs, field trips, STAR testing, and state assessments. So as we go through each of these, you will see that some of them are optional and then some of them are mandatory as well. So let's start with in-house days. In-house days is where the bulk of our blended learning opportunities come from. They are on Mondays and Wednesdays. You can see on this schedule from 9 o'clock to 2. You can come the entire time, or you can just come for parts of it. It's really up to you. But we meet in the Nest, which is the middle school room at the eCademy building, and we have as close to a typical brick and mortar school day as we can. The students will get English, math, science, and social studies on Monday. And then on Wednesdays, instead of science, they will get to participate in PE, where our health and fitness teacher will come and actually take them to the gym, and they'll participate in a PE lesson. So these days are a lot of fun. They are supplemental to the curriculum, so students will not get a ton of time to work in PCX. So keep that in mind when you're planning your weekly schedule, if it's something that you think would benefit your student to come. A lot of times if a student is behind, they won't get a lot of time during these in-house days to put work into PCX. This is, again, supplemental to the curriculum. It is not something that is required, but it is a lot of fun. We have found that students who come to in-house days frequently tend to do better than those who avoid it altogether, mainly just because they can put names with faces, they get to see their teachers in person, and then they get to build relationships while they're here with their classmates and their peers, and again with their teachers as well. And that's a great thing. So we would love to see students on these days, but again, this is something that is optional. It is not a requirement, but it's fun, and we really enjoy it. You can see on Tuesdays and Thursdays there are virtual learning opportunities. These are based on the individual teacher's schedules. A lot of this will be based on student needs. So if you need a virtual session or you need to meet with your teacher via a virtual session, you should contact them and schedule that one-on-one session on one of those 2 days. So check your teacher's information, and you'll find more information about their virtual learning opportunities. And then Friday, you probably can't see it because of the video, we offer field trips and clubs, which I'll go over here in just a second. So here is our schedule for our in-house day. You can see as soon as the student comes in, we have a PCX check-in. The teacher will meet with them, and they will go over what they need to be caught up on and working on in their courses. And then we have the different subjects like I listed before. Again, during lunch, your student will need to provide their own lunch. All of these activities, except for PE, will be held in the nest, which again is our eCademy middle school room. So when a student comes in for in-house days, they will have to check in the office. And if they are not staying the entire day, a parent will need to come sign them out so that we know where the student is going, that a parent has approved that. If they're staying till 2, they don't have to sign out in the office. The teachers will walk them out to the cars and let them get a ride with their parent that way. Field trips and clubs. So we try to provide, again, these are on Fridays, we try to provide a social activity 2 to 3 times a month on Fridays. So that could either be a club or it could be a field trip. All information about these will be communicated with you through email announcements, and then we have a middle school Facebook page. You will get plenty of warnings before these events happen, but we do try to go on a field trip about 3 times a semester, and we have a couple different clubs that we offer that we try to do throughout the semester as well. All of them are on Fridays, so be looking for that information as it gets closer to that time. STAR testing. This is something that is a requirement. Up until this point, the in-house days, clubs, field trips, these are all optional things. You can choose to participate in all of the clubs, field trips, in-house days, or none. It is totally up to you. We would love to see you guys at all of them because that's why we teach. We want to see our students, but we understand if things are going on or if you have other things that are going on in your life that you can't make it, but we would love to see you at as many as possible. Now, there are 2 things I'm going to go over here at the end that are not optional. You do have to come in-house to the nest to complete. One of those is STAR testing. This is a Andover School District requirement. We are in Andover School District as a public school, so we follow this requirement. And it basically requires that students take a formative assessment in reading and math 3 times a year. So we will send information out about this. Usually it's once during the fall and twice second semester. The second one is usually in between, kind of at the end of first semester, beginning of second semester. Again, we will communicate all of this information through email announcements and our Facebook page, but be thinking about this as, this time of year comes around. State assessments. This is a big one. The state requires that all state assessments be completed at a proctored location by a certified teacher. So we have to proctor them. You have to come to us so we can proctor your students' state assessments. That's just what we have to do. So typically, these state assessments are in the spring. We will offer multiple testing sessions. So, there's not specific dates that we have that you have to come in. You'll have a couple choices that will hopefully work for your family. But just to give you a heads up, this will be coming in the spring. And again, all of this information will be communicated with you through email announcements, sometimes phone calls if we haven't heard from you, in our Facebook page. So be thinking about this. If you have trips coming up in the spring, you might want to think about how you're going to get state assessments completed. So that is kind of the end of the blended learning opportunities. Please let us know if you have any questions. Again, the in-house days, the clubs, the field trips, those are all optional. They're just extra opportunities for your student to gain and get information and build relationships from our program. We would love to see you at as many of those as possible, but we totally understand, your curriculum is a priority as well. So make sure you're staying up to date with your courses in PCX. The STAR testing and state assessments, you'll be getting information about that. Those are something that you'll want to plan to come in-house for. But other than that, we would love to see you at as many as possible. And thank you for watching this section of your orientation video. Have a good day.
Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Green again. I am going to be doing this orientation on the Pearson Connexus, which we refer to as PCX. Another thing we sometimes call it is grad point, just because that's what it was last year. That's what we're used to. So if you are a returning student, that might be what you would think of. It's very similar looking. You can see that when you log on, this will be your home screen here. And up here you should see your name and your own picture. You can change that picture, and you can also change the background. So over here what we would look at is announcements always come up first, and those are what the teachers send or the school sends out for things that are very important. As a teacher, we can get in and look at what you've already looked at. If you've looked at it before, it'll be gray. If you haven't read it yet, it will be dark black. So make sure that you're keeping up to date on those. Right now we have a lot of welcome back announcements, but we'll put up the calendars and such there so that you can check out all of the stuff that we have going on. One of the things that we want you to do is join our Facebook page. So that's one of the announcements that you should see there. If you go onto Facebook and you type in eCademy Middle School, you'll see it come up, and then you'll just click join. But that's another place that will post announcements, post things going on. So make sure you keep up to date with that. This is what's considered your to-do list here. Currently, there's nothing to do this week for this student because it's the beginning of the school year and we just don't have any due dates yet. Usually they'll put about the week's worth of stuff there. If you have anything behind, it'll say past due in red, so you can see like, okay, that was due already, so that needs to be a priority. You are able to click on those items and it will take you right to the lesson. However, we suggest not doing that because it'll take you to the actual assignment and you might miss out on the lesson where it teaches you about those concepts. So use this as a tool to refer to see what is coming up in the week or what's past due, but don't use it as a tool to just click through those items. All right, in this section right here, this is basically like your locker at school, and these are where you keep your books. So these should be your courses. When you first log on, make sure that you have all the courses that you signed up for. If not, please contact our counselor and we can make sure that you're in the courses you're supposed to be in. But clicking on any of these will take you to the book or the content there. So I'm going to click on the math class since I'm the math teacher, and you can see this is called our landing page. It takes me right to there. It tells you my schedule and everything. All classes have a folder at the top called Important Information. Before you get started in the class, please make sure you read through all the important information. You can see what we've already talked about is the academic integrity policy, the tech support. So I believe it was Mrs. Hershey that told you how to fill out a tech support form, and this is where you would go to get it. We have our I have a retry policy. Each teacher might have something different. We have our permanent zero policy. So you can just click through those things and make sure that you understand all of our policies in that important information folder. Then it will take you to the actual content. So we call them modules. These are like your chapters. So our new content here will take you through a lesson, and then there will be a quiz after each lesson. So anytime you see this little paper here, it just means that that's the lesson. So we'll click on this. In order to go to the next thing, you must complete all the tasks here. So I would just click continue and continue until I've read this all, and then when I'm ready for the quiz, it'll take me to the quiz. Right now it's telling me that I can't take the quiz yet because I didn't click through all of the lessons or all of the slides in that lesson above. So you have to do this in order. Now, if I want to get back to that home screen, I can do one of two things. I can click on the home button here. If you aren't sure what these things mean, you can click this out here to see all of the what all the icons mean. If I just want to go to a different class, I can click up here to just go right to that different class. But if I want to go back to my home screen, I'm just going to click that, and it will take me back here so I can click on a different class. Okay, like I said, all of the classes look the same. We all have our important information folder and then our modules. So again, make sure you go to each class every day and just open it up and see what you're ready for. Once you complete something, there'll be a little green check mark here so that you know that you're ready for the next thing. And that will help you, instead of using that to-do list, you can look right here on the module and just kind of scroll down until you get to where you're at. So just go down below the green check mark, and that should keep you up to date. Remember, when you're planning things, to give yourself time for different items. An English paper might take you longer than the day that it's due. So if you see that this is due on Friday, you don't probably want to start your English paper on Friday because you want to take some time to write it. So make sure that you've kind of scheduled out your thing. So speaking of schedules, let's click over here to calendar. So on the calendar here, right now I'm just on my English course, and you can see that during this week of August there's nothing scheduled yet. If I wanted to go to the month, I can see that during the month of August there's only one thing that I have to do. I can even scroll over. I can go to September. Oops. Or I can click all here, and it will tell me everything that's going to be due, when it's due, so if you want to go ahead and make out your schedule. Now again, right now I'm just in my English class, so these are just my assignments for that day. And you can click through here and look and just see, okay, there's going to be 2 things that day, so maybe on that day I need to do something on this Thursday to make up for the fact that there's 2 due on Friday. And anytime you want to look at the calendar with your different subjects, just go up here and you can click on your different subjects. So I'll go into social studies now. And you can see everything that's due then. If it's too chaotic for you to look at the all, you can click on day, whatever, however works for you. You can also click on all your classes. So let's say you're going out of town August 28th. Well, maybe on August 28th, I can see that I have 3 due in all of my classes because I'm up here in the all category. I can see that I'm going to have 3 due. Well, on the 25th and 24th, I only have 1 thing due those 2 days. In all of my classes. So if I'm going to leave town then, I might look at that and say, okay, I better do those assignments during those days when I have a less full load there. So going back over here to the toolbar, we have our course activities. We'll have to click a class. I'm going to click math again. So again, that just is another way to get into your class. Performance. So let me show you here that this is a performance tab, and that's going to be where you see your grades. So I'm just in my math class right here. I can pull this down and look at all of my classes. And parents, we recommend that you check this every single night just to make sure that your kids are doing what they say they're doing. Don't just take their word for it. Don't come home and say, hey, what did you do today? And they're like, oh, I got all my homework done. Come in here, click on this performance tab, and look at every single class. What is awesome about this is that we can see down to the second what you guys have been working on. Up here, and this is great for parents and learning coaches, click on the activity. And you can see, like today, just doing this little video right now, you can see exactly what I clicked on and how long I was in it. So I was on that last page for 12 seconds. I was on this page for 4 seconds. So if your student says, oh, I need a retry on this test, I didn't do very well, I'm going to come in here and look at the activity and say, well, you only spent 12 seconds on it. You just clicked through. You didn't actually learn it. So make sure that you're taking your time and you're giving it your full effort. So I'm going to go back over to grades. This is just showing you, again, another way to look at everything that's going to be graded in this class. Sometimes you will see an X on something. That is something that we've taken out of the class, so do not worry about that. It's been exempted from the class. The grade won't hurt you. It won't help you. It's just an extra thing that we've taken out. So just ignore the X's there. But once you do an assignment and it's graded, you'll get a score right here. And it will, if it hasn't been graded, it might have a check mark here and then a little box that looks like a little paper, and that means that we need to grade it. It will tell us what date you submitted it on and when it was due. So if you submit it on a day that's past this, it'll show up in red because that means it was past due. It's okay to turn in an assignment late, but it's not recommended. Let's say you go on a trip and you can't get ahead of schedule, or you get sick, that's okay. You're allowed to be late. We refer back to that late policy that every month, first of the month, we do our permanent zeros, and that's when it becomes an issue. But we try to tell you guys to work ahead. At the beginning of the year, we usually give you about 2 weeks to get started so that you don't feel like you're starting at a disadvantage. You're starting right when you need to. So anytime that you see that there's not an assignment, like there's a lot of days between August 31st and September 5th. So that would be time to work on other assignments or get ahead. And it's always okay to work ahead. Okay, next thing in the toolbar is announcements, and that takes us back to that first page. You can go here and look at all the announcements that I've posted just in my math class. You can click on all and look at all of them again. The other thing you can do is send mail through here. So let's say I'm working on my math and I'm just struggling on something and I don't want to go to my Gmail account and check that. I can send mail here. I'll type in, it says teachers and graders in my math class. So let's say I just say please help or whatever on the subject. Then I'm going to explain myself here. If I send this here, it is going to send it to the teacher's Gmail. And when the teacher replies, it's going to reply it into your Gmail. So you won't be able to see our response in PCX. You will need to go to your Gmail and wait for your response there. So we don't really recommend using the mail here just because sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle or you're waiting on us to reply when we've already replied and you just haven't checked your email. This webmail service here, we would really prefer you not even use this. We will not get these messages, so if you send us a message through here, we might not receive it. So every day you need to be checking your Gmail account to make sure that we haven't sent you an email there or replied to your email in that. Okay, so we'd like you to just pretend that that doesn't even exist on here. We went over the calendar earlier. A live lesson, this is a place where you can go on and request to have a little live lesson with us. We would like you to set up a scheduled time ahead of time, so if you have a chance to email us or call us and just say, hey, I'm really struggling on this concept, can I get a live lesson with you? We can set that up and teach you how to do that at that point. Some teachers will use this and some teachers will use other ways of communication, so it's just kind of up to the teacher. So again, if you need help, please email us or call us to let us know at that point. Oops. Here's a student activity tracker. And on this is another way that we can check we can put in the date and we can figure out how many hours, and if you're sick, you can type it in there, just a way to get to know us. But really, those are the tools that you'll use a little bit. So going back to the home, remember the most important thing is you'll see your to-do list here. Make sure you're not just clicking on those and going right to the lesson. Make sure that you're going into the course and finding the lesson that you're ready for next. Guys, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask at all. And also remember, there is always going to be this announcement here that says eCademy video tutorials. Anytime that you're sitting there going, man, she talked about a lot of stuff, I can't remember everything, I can always click on this help videos and it will take me to all of the videos that we have explaining everything. So let's say you can't remember how to send an email, you can't remember how to track your feedback or anything like that. We have videos on all of that. Okay. Speaking of feedback, I think I forgot to tell you how to do that. Let me go back here real quick. So going back to that performance thing, and again, right now nothing's been graded. Let me click on a class. Nothing's been graded yet, but if you have turned in something, we'll give you a score, and if we have said anything, there'll be like a little speech bubble here beside the status of our grade, and you'll click on the speech bubble and it will come up with why you got things wrong or our feedback for you. A lot of time it's in English. I know Mrs. Clem will write down like what you need to go back and fix, and she'll give you a retry. A retry is denoted with a little blue arrow that kind of is going to be right by your score. So anytime you have a blue arrow, that means you have the opportunity to retry it. But before you do that, you definitely should read your feedback and go back through the lesson and learn the material a little better before you go for your retry. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know at any time. All of our emails are on our home pages. I'm just going to go into my home page, and in that important information folder, you'll see my contact information. We all have this in here, so you can always go to that, and our emails are right there. Guys, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.